What's up, guys? Welcome back to TheBiringPodcast. Today, first we got Russia. Ukraine seems to be escalating.
Yeah, so I guess Trump can't seem to back out of this thing.
Seems to have changed his mind on Putin a little bit.
Yeah.
Then we got Shannon Sharpe. Got some drama going on.
Come on, Unc. This guy needs to get off social media.
Right? Next, the Bank of Canada might restart rate cuts, according to economists.
I feel like they should have cut last meeting.
I agree. Can't say any different. Then Shedeur Sanders fell to the 5th round in the NFL draft, and everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, I think this kid's going to have a big chip on his shoulder if he gets to play or win.
I mean, he looks like a promised candidate. I don't know if he should have fell to the 5th round. Definitely worth talking about. Next, we got McGill University in Montreal closes its DEI offices.
Yeah, diversity versus meritocracy.
That's worth a debate. Last, we got Nico Harrison was shocked people actually love Luka Dončić in Dallas.
Yeah, who is that guy?
I don't know. We never heard of Luka. Anyone heard of him? After all of that, what do we have for off topic?
So we'll talk about Michael Jordan's salary, Sean Kingston, Just Rain's show Late Bloomer, and a couple other things.
And stay tuned for the question segment at the end.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys haven't done so already, and go follow us on Instagram and TikTok at TheBiringPodcast. So, Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah.
It seems like just last week we were talking about Trump saying that he might even back out if they don't negotiate a deal soon enough.
Yeah.
And then there was supposed to be a ceasefire during Easter weekend, and Russia launched some missiles into Ukraine, and then Trump posted on Truth Social talking about it.
Yeah, basically he said, I'm not happy with the Russian strikes on Kiev. Not necessary. Very bad timing. Vladimir, stop. 5,000 soldiers a week are dying. Let's get the peace deal done.
Yeah. And then I think while that was going on, you had Zelenskyy and Trump met at the St. Peter's Basilica.
Yeah.
Right before the Pope's funeral, and everyone made a big deal about it because it wasn't apparently supposed to happen. It wasn't planned. He kind of got surrounded by Macron and the England guy, Starmer.
Starmer, yeah.
And I think he even ran into the EU lady. You know, how they had a little bit of back and forth. Ursula von der Leyen, I guess her name is. And then they had this little meeting, right? And once a meeting was done, they posted on social media, and I think Zelenskyy posted on X saying, good meeting. We discussed a lot one-on-one, hoping for results on everything we covered, protecting lives of our people, full and unconditional ceasefire, reliable and lasting peace that will prevent another war from breaking out. Very symbolic meeting that has potential to become historic if we achieve joint results. Thank you, POTUS.
Thank you, POTUS. Okay, he's buttering him up a bit, I guess.
Right. And I think Trump also posted.
Yeah, this guy went on a bit of a rant.
Yeah.
He went on this Peter Baker guy, New York Times columnist, and he's just like, he's gonna talk about me badly no matter what.
Yeah.
And then he also never misses the opportunity to blame something on Sleepy Joe or Obama. But it's crazy rant.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, after his whole little rant, he's just like, with all of that being said, there was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along and has to be dealt with differently through banking or secondary sanctions. Too many people are dying. So you just keep stressing that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Kiev and Moscow have sat down since like the war started. What was it, like 2022?
Yeah.
And then like a little bit of this escalation. Like I think after that, the missiles hit Ukraine before this meeting or somewhere around that time, I think a general in, what was it called? In Moscow.
Yeah.
It's a Russian general, right? In a car bombing.
Yeah.
And then apparently they apprehended the guy.
Yeah, there was a FSB Secret Service, and they apprehended Ukrainian Special Services agent Ignat Kuzy, and he planted explosives in the Volkswagen to kill the general. And
Allegedly, that's what they have.
yeah.
Like nobody actually knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think even on Friday, like that same. So all this is kind of happening in the same like couple of days.
For sure.
Steve Witkoff, who's one of Trump's guys, I think he's a special envoy. He went and met with Putin on Friday, and he's like, I had very constructive talks.
Yeah.
Right, and then all of this is kind of going on, right? So then I look at that and you see what these guys are tweeting and where kind of Trump's shifting a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems like he's starting to realize, or the world is starting to realize, right, that maybe Putin doesn't want to stop this war.
For sure.
Right? Like maybe he just wants to keep pushing forward and take as much as he possibly can. And if that's the case, then yeah, you need sanctions. You need the U.S. to step in a little bit more, right?
Yeah, even the ceasefire in the first place wasn't that self-imposed. That was from Putin's side. He said that they're going to do a ceasefire up until Easter, and they broke it within like a day or so.
Right.
So look at that. Those don't seem like the actions of somebody who wants to come to a resolution, get a peace deal done, right?
Also, then is that kind of a slap in Trump's face? Because he's like we're gonna do a ceasefire. Like he's saying, like, I think he realized he's tapping me along.
Yeah.
Right? And then he just does what he wants.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure. And Trump's like kind of stood up for him a lot, saying like, I'll get something done with him. Don't worry about it. And that's kind of one of the things that he ran on. He's like, I'm gonna get this dealt with. And that's annoying this guy. Because when he says something, he wants to back it up, right?
Yeah. Because I think I was even reading before one of his tweets. He posts so much on True Social, it's hard to even know.
When you try to look for one, you can't even find it.
Right? But he was saying something along the lines of like, the minerals deal was on the table. Zelenskyy hasn't signed it or whatever. Even in that meeting, it seems like Zelenskyy was ass kissing a little bit, to say the least,
sure,
right? He was like what these guys wanted in the first place. So even at the end of it, he's like, this could be a very historic, agreement if it comes to, I'm paraphrasing here, but what he said in that tweet, I feel like a little bit of that is playing to Trump's ego,
for sure.
But a little bit like you kind of then understand that, this war is now in the place of the U.S. is going to get in the middle of it, right? It's in a place where Russia's not really negotiating.
For sure.
Anything, right? Like we flip-flop on our stance on Ukraine too, because sometimes it seems like, okay, Russia is going to come to the table, and then sometimes it seems like they don't care about what's going on, right? And it doesn't matter about how many people are dying. It doesn't matter about how many soldiers are dying or what's happening. They just want to keep this thing going for as long as they possibly can.
That's the thing. I feel like they don't care, and he's finally getting it now. He already imposed some sanctions. He's talking about secondary sanctions, and I think that's the only way to really get his attention. Because nobody needs sanctions, nobody wants them.
Right.
And then when it comes down to money, maybe he'll start paying attention then, right?
Hopefully. I mean,
but then why is Trump saying that Putin's tapping him along? Like, did Putin say that he wants the war to end?
Putin, he kind of keeps playing this game that they're not offering any concessions and like they can't be a part of NATO. There's a couple of things to which now apparently I was reading that Zelensky's kind of saying that, he's willing to give up a lot of things. He's like, we won't be a part of NATO as long as whatever agreement we get is like backstopped by the US. What he means there is like the U.S. kind of steps in if somebody steps out of line, which is kind of them, like they're just trying to be like, give us something there. Like if Trump's in office and then somebody else new comes in office, they don't necessarily have to honor that deal. They could be like, we don't know, right? So it's not a permanent solution for them. They also back in the day gave up nuclear weapons on the hope that they would be protected if Russia invades, right? So if not nuclear weapon, but they gave up their nuclear. But like I feel like it's in a place where Putin just keeps saying, let's negotiate. But all of his actions show that I don't care what you guys are saying. I'm just gonna do this.
It seems like he doesn't want to be told what to do. Like Trump's trying to negotiate this thing between them, like Trump being the powerhouse.
Exactly.
But Putin's like, well, no.
I think
I'm
I think you hit
that's
the
the
nail
vibe
on the
he gives
head.
off. He gets like, I have all the cards in my hand. Like
that's what
you
it
do
is.
what I say, you give me what I want.
Yeah.
I'm gonna want more.
Yeah, I think he doesn't. It seems like now, like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It always seemed like he didn't care.
I think if he thought that they came to a mutual decision, or it was Putin that came up with the idea, then he would have been like, cool.
Yeah.
Right. But like now he's kind of being like, oh yeah, the whole world wants me to do something. I'm gonna do what I want.
That's the thing. I feel like he's very much like Trump, right?
Yeah.
And they're kind of butting heads.
Yeah.
In the beginning, like even like a month ago, that whole thing in the White House between Zelenskyy, it seemed like he was going to be the hard person to negotiate with more so, right?
Zelenskyy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's flip-flopped. He's totally like, thank you, POTUS, this and that.
Yeah.
And now...
Yeah, I mean, Zelensky's doing, whether or not you agree, because there's a lot of like talk out there that'll be like he's not actually elected, right?
Yeah.
And like he's, and they'll talk about Ukraine and the politics there. Whether or not you agree with Zelenskyy, at this point, he's kind of doing the best he can do there.
For sure. Yeah.
Right? Like he realizes he's having a conversation with a leader like Trump. He realizes a little bit he has to kiss the ring, a little bit he has to get concessions for his country. He realizes all these things. He's negotiating to the best of his ability. And still, there's not really anything coming from Moscow, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It's definitely a weird situation. Like that, all you could do is hope that some sort of peace deal happens, right? So this war that's kind of senseless can just stop.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like he's saying 5,000 soldiers a week.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. But like, I think secondary sanctions might be the move to get it done.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what he's hinting towards.
it sounds like it's like to anyone who doesn't understand the economic ramifications of things, like they think like, oh, maybe it's not enough.
Yeah.
The second you start hurting people's money, even countries, they start to pay attention, right? And they usually come to the table, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it gets dealt with sooner rather than later.
Hopefully.
Let's move on. Please like and subscribe, as it really does help the podcast out tremendously. Now let's get back to the podcast. Let's move on to Shannon Sharpe. He's facing a $50 million civil lawsuit accused of sexual assault and battery, filed on Sunday in Clark County, Nevada. And here's an audio of a conversation between Shannon Sharpe and the accuser.
Say you're just gonna like get mad at and you're just gonna hang up on me, so I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
what does that even mean?
Nothing, Gabby. You want to be a dick to me now, so.
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm going to choke the shit out of you when I see you.
Okay.
Thank you.
It just feels like she's waiting for
She's baiting him,
Yeah.
it sounds like almost. But he's just
like, what's all this silence for, right? It's weird.
Well,
nothing.
She's just waiting for him. She's
I
trying.
don't.
Scared too. He's like pretty aggressive.
You think so? This is so.
Or he's gone. Oh.
Oh no, he's right there.
Well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do.
Oh my god. Okay. Damn.
I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
You don't
Whoa,
have a choice.
damn.
This was after the lawsuit came out? This conversation?
That conversation came out leaked after the
But it was
lawsuit.
from before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before we react, we have a clip of him explaining his side of the story.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Buzbee, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Buzbee targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly, on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Buzbee want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
Okay. So he's gonna countersue. them.
Yeah, he's countersuing. What's weird is that he knows that there's a sex tape coming out, right? And he's like, they're going to release 30 seconds.
It's 10 minutes.
And why don't you release the whole 10 minutes?
Yeah.
How bad is that 30 seconds where he's like, they're going to release that 30 seconds. It's going to make me look bad.
Yeah. I need some context.
Right?
The lawsuits for sexual assault
And battery.
and battery.
Yeah.
So that's what she's alleging.
Yeah.
Plus that conversation.
That conversation seems staged.
There's other ones too. Like I've heard them online. It feels super orchestrated to me. Like I think she went into this whole thing with intent. It feels like every time she talks to him, maybe he said some crazy stuff to her, but she's always trying to bait him in.
I think anytime you're dealing with like a civil suit and not a criminal one, I feel like there's a money grab there. Right? Like
Yeah.
I think once a line is crossed, at that point she's recording everything and then she wants him to say it. Like she's gonna call him because she is setting him up.
Possibly.
But something maybe triggered that.
What makes it hard is this Busby guy.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right?
He's gone after Jay-Z, lost that one. Now he's getting countersued, right? And he's gone after Diddy, and we all know what the hell's happening there, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're like somebody's gonna contact this guy specifically, it seems like you're doing it because you know that he might be able to get you some sort of money.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me, right? Like it feels a little bit too orchestrated, like you were saying, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like if, with all that said, right, if you're a public figure like him, right, he knows she's an OnlyFans model.
Yeah.
She's also young, I'm assuming.
20?
Yeah, she's in her 20s.
Yeah, she's
early
super
20s
young,
somewhere.
yeah.
And he knows what he's going through,
Yeah.
right? So if you are an older dude like him and you're dealing with these young chicks and you see everything that happens these days, you've heard and not only heard and seen, he's talked about Jay-Z and Diddy. He knows all of this.
He's also had this problem before when he went online.
That's the
Then
thing.
there's
Like
that.
how
He was
recent, right?
was it,
whole-
Michelle?
Yeah. Like how could you forget?
Yeah. Then if you have all of that going on, you're gonna go and not you're gonna act as if or be reckless, for lack of a better word. Like you think that this conversation can't be recorded. You think that certain things can't happen. And also
You're a celebrity, like
how does she, when he's like, there's gonna be 30 seconds that makes me look bad.
Yeah.
Right? Where did she hide a camera that
Exactly.
Where, like,
He had no idea.
Yeah, he's implying that it's a sex tape, right?
Yeah.
So like, how does, I don't know. I guess there's a lot of ways you could do that, but if somebody recorded something like that and she has something like that, it's planned.
Yeah.
it is planned.
Right? You have video evidence and you have audio.
That's the only thing, like when you said it, I didn't like, just because when I heard the audio,
Yeah.
like I started thinking that it's so much of her baiting him to say something. Even these long pauses, every time I heard audio, she'll say something, kind of bait him a bit and wait for a response, right? But maybe, like you
Prior
were
to
saying,
that,
prior to that,
something
something
happened.
actually happened.
And she needed evidence.
And then she's like, yeah, let me try to build a case. But it's this guy, this Busby guy has a bad rep.
Yeah, for sure.
And even now, Shannon, even if this one's proved false, the Michelle, like you got a bit of a rep now too, right? It doesn't matter
He's
if you're
almost 60 years old.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, he's just obviously not a good person, and this girl is over 30 years younger than him.
Yeah.
Like to some extent, like he's like grooming her a little bit, and like how you were saying, like those things that she's trying to get him to say.
Yeah.
He's probably said it to her in the past, so she had some sort of idea that he would say it again. Let me get it on camera.
for sure.
I don't know.
I could see him manipulating her. Like
I could see him being a little bit manipulating, but I don't know if grooming is the right word. Like, I feel like
I think grooming, just in the sense that because of her age,
Yeah.
it's very easily to do so without, like, we're just looking at it like she's trying to cash grab.
Manipulator.
my thought process on it is this. There's this clip that's making the rounds of Monique kind of giving this guy a little bit of advice. I think we have it.
This dating thing, because this is Mo is different now than when you and I.
It's different, baby. I'm grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
You tried to say what you tried to say. Mo.
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at me.
I ain't backing down. You better take your old ass and get somebody to love you.
Damn, Mo.
Now I'm looking right at y'all. Let me tell y'all what Shannon needs.
Let me live my
Let
life.
me tell you what my baby need. He need him an old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings, who gonna rub his feet at the nighttime, okay, and gonna have a sip of his cognac to make him feel better about himself when he come home at night. That's what Shannon need. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you.
do.
Take your old ass and get your old bitch out there that can love you old.
Yeah, take her advice.
You should have listened to that. You definitely should have listened to that. I mean, this whole... to me, it seems like I think we kind of have differing opinions here. You guys are saying you guys are kind of on the fence about, like, you guys think a little bit the girl
I
might
don't think
be...
I have all the information.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're just speculating here,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Everything's alleged. We don't know what the hell's going on. They haven't even really released her name. They refer to her as Jane Doe. He refers to her
But
as
he said
Gabby.
her name.
Yeah.
No, I think now they've released it.
The lawsuit hasn't.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's out there on the
Yeah,
internet,
yeah.
right? But like the lawsuit hasn't. They refer to her as Jane Doe.
Yeah.
Right. And from what I read, like the girl was with him in California, and then she moved to Nevada. He moved. I don't know. Like they've known each other for long enough.
Exactly.
Right. Like if something was going on, wouldn't you not do any of that?
Or like, if it's not a money grab, right? Something's happening. You're in an abusive relationship of any manner, right? Verbally, physically, whatever. A lot of times you just want to get out of it and get away from it, right? Yeah. Like, why would you carry it on?
That's a whole other topic. I feel like that's kind of like victim blaming. Like, oh, why do you stay? But there's so many reasons why a woman would stay. But at the end of the day, like, she's so much younger than him. And if she even has a little bit to like bring forward in lawsuits because he's doing these things to her. So,
or do you think it's this stuff with this Busby guy and everyone else trying to get some money and thinking that here's my payday and I'm going to go get paid?
Well, is he getting people paydays? Because the whole Diddy thing the Jay-Z thing got dropped.
The Jay-Z thing got dropped, but he's gone. I don't know, but it seems like he's gone after guys before.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're specifically targeting celebrities.
Yeah.
Right. Like it does seem a little fishy to me. Right. Like, and to what Simmer's saying, I feel like for me personally, I don't know how anyone else feels, but for me personally, I feel like now it's turning into this thing where it's going to get hard to believe these girls.
Yeah.
And God forbid one of them is actually going through something.
Yeah.
The public is going to become so numb to it where you're going to be like, bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? Which sucks.
Yeah.
Right. But it's because a lot of shit like this, right? Because if it was something where something like that did happen, right? Money wouldn't be the first thing on your mind.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm thinking, but you're right too. It's hard to know the whole scenario and she's super young, right?
Yeah, and there are stats that back up I'm going to butcher the stat, but there's something along the lines of like how difficult it is for somebody who's been domestically abused to actually leave their partner.
Yeah, because the mental toll.
And they'll actually stay with them, right? Like it's
a very common thing.
Yeah.
To stay with your
But then again, outside of these assault and battery or whatever, no pictures came out of her bruised up or anything. Nothing crazy has happened. He's claiming it's all consensual, so it seems like they're just during, I don't know.
Well, pictures like some of the assault, like how would there be a picture of that? It doesn't necessarily mean that he hit her. It's like sexual assault.
Yeah.
No,
what picture?
But it says and battery, right?
And
that
choking,
means
the choking part.
Yeah, so it's choking. So it's during one incident, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who's this thorough, if she ever got hit, she would have been like, and that would have been in her like back, pocket.
Yeah.
For if the situation's gonna come up, right? Like she didn't do that. If she's recording him and she's making videos of him, you think if she got slapped or hit or anything, she wouldn't take pictures?
I just think about the age, and I think about maybe brain development and how old he is, and he's probably like, oh, you'll like this. Oh, you should make a video, or you should, I don't know. He could just somehow convince her that there's something she likes. So maybe she went away from that situation and was like, no, that wasn't cool.
Yeah, but she was wise enough to do an audio recording.
After,
right? But at some point, she's trying to trap him with some things. She has some sort of financial gain. Nobody just goes and records somebody unless you're trying to bait somebody into something, right?
Yeah.
So if she's that wise, if she was actually getting hit, one would think like, okay, she's going to be recording evidence of this as we go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to play into the mental psyche of a individual. Right.
For sure.
I'm not saying every girl is this way, but somebody who has video and audio, I highly doubt that if there was pictures, she wouldn't take them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right?
the thing with him is too, like, he's countersuing. Or I don't know if he did yet. He said in that video that he's plans on it. And ESPN hasn't let him go yet. And he said that he's stepping away temporarily. He said in a statement, he put it out on his Instagram, temporarily he's going to step away until the start of the NFL season, preseason. So
His lawyer confirmed he'll counterclaim.
yeah, well, he confirmed it. Okay, so looking at all that, he either he's innocent or he has a very strong case, right? He believes that.
Why he's stepping away from ESPN, likely, I don't know his contract or how it was written or whatever, but usually in bigger corporations like Disney, who owns ESPN, you'll have something called a morality clause, which essentially you'll get to the organization will fire you if you don't act in a moral way, right? So the way that you conduct yourself when you're away from the business, especially somebody who's in the public eye, it has to be done morally so it doesn't reflect poorly on the company. Right?
Yeah.
So the idea there is probably, like, again, I don't know, it's just what I'm thinking, is probably he beats ESPN to the punch. He knows he has to step down, otherwise they would have to fire him, right? I look at that kind of like, it's not like they didn't fire him so he's innocent. It's because he had to do what he did. That's why he stepped down. And he stepped away from
He was forced to step down.
Yeah.
I think he was told, like, well, we're going to either publicly fire you or you can take this.
It's exactly what I'm saying, right? Like either if he didn't step down, he'd get fired.
Exactly.
Right.
Makes sense, yeah.
Because then Disney looks bad because you don't know how this thing's gonna play out, right? So that now Disney doesn't look bad, you know, parent company of ESPN.
Saves face for both sides.
For both sides, right? So that's just a business move. That has nothing to do with innocence or anything like that, right?
The countersuit kind of does, or not necessarily.
No, not necessarily either. Because if you don't, you're saying you're guilty.
Yeah.
Right. So at this point, you're just playing it out.
And if he released that video, now he's got to write it out.
Even that video, he's reading off a teleprompter. You could see his eyes moving. Like, how genuine was it?
I saw that and I'm like, guys, center the camera. He's like, put the teleprompter in the middle.
Yeah.
He's looking up there.
Yeah, at the corner. Like, you could tell this guy's reading.
I swear, man. Overall, this guy needs to step away. Like this girl. I'm pretty sure this guy's a grandfather, right?
Yeah, he's almost 60.
I think he is.
I think she's younger
Don't
than.
put yourself in these situations.
She's younger than his daughter and stuff. Like, he's definitely developed a rep now, right? I would take a step back from social media, all of it. Maybe even dating. Just calm down.
I mean, he does, like, I think on not just Club Shay Shay, excuse me, he was having like a good run there. Everyone saw the numbers on the Cat Williams interview and all that. But even on Nightcap, him and Ocho talk about some out of pocket stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And like I even saw Candace Owens going in on him. She was just like, I think they laughed at her when she got let go of
they did
on the Daily Wire. They're making fun of her. And then she just came back with like it's, not so funny now.
Yeah.
Like,
but I even saw her take. She was kind of supporting him, right? Wasn't she?
Maybe
not supporting, but she thinks the case is bogus.
Like it can be a shakedown. Like it might be.
Her guess is that like it looks like a shakedown.
Yeah, if I had to objectively look at it, like that's the side that I fall on more so too.
And
right?
that's coming from Candace, who doesn't like the guy.
Doesn't like the guy, right? But Candace also investigates a whole bunch of things, and you don't want to get on Candace's bad side. But
her take on that France, is it Francis?
Macron? Yeah. It's not only that; she's looking into Harvey Weinstein right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that kind of goes all over the place. I think she's taking some time off.
Yeah. She just said that.
Yeah, but
Monk needs to chill, man.
Look, these are merely our opinions based on our life experiences, knowledge, and research. Maybe you agree or disagree or simply want to be a part of the conversation. Leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. Now let's get back to the pod. Monk needs to chill, yeah. Let's move on to the Bank of Canada. Might start restart these rate cuts?
Probably they should.
Grim retail sales underbelly points to Bank of Canada restarting rate cuts. Economists say retail sales in March increased 0.7% per month over month, according to Statistics Canada's advanced estimate released on Friday, which is the first increase of the year and a significant jump from 0.4% contraction in February. So basically the idea is people loaded up on purchases in March.
Yeah.
Right? Because of these tariffs that were coming in.
Yeah.
And according to these economists, right, they're saying discretionary spending is actually down.
Yeah.
Right? So they're saying because of tariffs, people loaded up, but normally they wouldn't be spending that much, right? So they're saying that the Bank of Canada is probably going to cut rates.
Yeah, I feel like they should have last time. The numbers are probably kind of juiced now because of that, right? People are scared of the tariffs. So there was a statement from economist David Rosenberg. He's an economist.
Yeah.
And he basically said that the central bank also pulled forward guidance and laid out two scenarios. One was the hope that United States President Donald Trump will unwind most of this trade war, which is wishful thinking, and the other was a fairly deep recession premised on the current tariff threats being carried out and remaining in place. So, and then he went on to say the Bank of Canada needs to recognize that the country is in an economic war and it should be protecting us against a fat-tailed risk. If scenario number 2 plays out, the policy rate is going to have to be pulled all the way down below 2%.
So he's basically saying if Trump doesn't stop this trade war, the overnight bank rate should come down below 2%.
Yeah.
Right. And he's saying they paused the rate cutting cycle, which he's kind of saying he disagrees with there, right? In not so many words.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we go into a recession, which kind of feels like it's been going on for a little while anyways.
Might already be.
Right. Right now, I think the overnight bank rate's at 2.75%.
Yeah. And
right?
he's kind of hinting it's got to drop a point.
He's saying it, at least 3/4 basis points, right? So I feel like at this rate, like nobody can predict what Trump's going to do.
For sure.
Right. One day he says that, Canada's 51st state. Next day he'll say, we don't need anything from them. And then, tomorrow he might turn around and think that we need to get the best trade deal done in the world, right? You don't know what he's going to say.
He keeps doubling down on it too. He did an interview with Time magazine, I think.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I'm not kidding. He's
I
like,
wasn't trolling.
I was never trolling.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm very serious about it. Same rhetoric. They'll love it. They'll be cherished, whatever.
Yeah. And then even outside of the trade war, I feel like you have real estate's going in a direction, right? Yeah. You see the condo markets, Vancouver, Toronto.
Toronto's been a mess, but Vancouver now is starting to tank. Even in the US, the market is tanking. Their sales fell to 5.9% in March.
Yeah.
Largest since 2002.
Yeah. Even here, you'll see a lot of realtors, mortgage agents, but obviously they have a bias, right?
Yeah.
You'll see them come out and say sales keep plummeting. We haven't seen these numbers in decades. Sales numbers keep going down. You need to save the housing market, right?
Yeah.
Which even condos in Toronto, they stopped building them, like the ones that are supposed to be built.
Some developers pulled out.
They've had a problem there for a while, man.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel like everyone's talking about housing supply and there's a housing shortage and we need to start building more homes and all of this.
Oh, part of their campaign.
Yeah. This perfect storm could happen where they're building more homes, all that's going on. Meanwhile, there's this fabricated housing market about to crash in Canada. Who knows where this thing can go?
For sure.
Yeah,
right?
There's kind of been a bubble developing for a long time, right? You don't know where it's...
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these houses are already, I feel like they've lost... they're worth a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So depending on when somebody bought their home, right? If they bought it in the peak of the market, you could be underwater on your mortgage right now.
There's definitely people there underwater.
Right. And these houses that are just kind of sitting on the market, you have a 30, 90, I don't even know how many days supply they have on these homes right now. I don't think these houses aren't flipping quick enough, right? So if somebody's in a tough spot, you think about it, they put up their house for sale, it's not selling, they can't make the mortgage payments. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, even the bank, the Fed does it too, the BOC does it too. They try to be overly cautious.
Yeah.
But it's you're doing it to yourself. You put you make it harder for yourself. If they had just cut a quarter point last meeting,
Yeah.
you actually give yourself more leeway to react to things, right?
It almost felt like that was in just, I don't know if you want to call it wishful thinking, but to me, it seemed like it's because of how the Trump kind of messed up on, and Jerome Powell's not, even moving on monetary policy, right?
Yeah.
And fiscally, Trump messes everything up. The stock market's crashing. The US dollar is falling, right? So I feel like when all of that's going on, you have this thought process of, hey, the Canadian dollar is a little bit strong compared to the greenback. Like maybe we just don't cut rates to keep that high.
Yeah.
Right? But then if you compare the Canadian dollar to other currencies globally, it's not doing so well, right? That's just more so the US dollar is tanking.
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing too. That's kind of like fabricated. But if you're going to use that as evidence of not cutting, like in my opinion, I feel like they should just do a half point now. Because they should have done a quarter last time in their next meeting.
I mean, it depends on how all of this plays out and how, first of all, what the Fed does on May 6, 7. After that, I feel like it just depends on what's happening with these tariffs, what can escalate with these wars. You don't know what kind of direction this stuff's going in.
Yeah.
Right. And usually after an election cycle, unless the Fed, the chair doesn't really care. But usually sometimes these bankers like to appease the prime minister or president, right?
Yeah.
And they'll kind of cut rates, right?
I feel like that's kind of what Macklem did too. He was just waiting for them to cut.
That's what I'm saying. After the elections, everything's done. We don't know, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, according to all the data, it seems like these rate cuts are probably coming, right?
Yeah, they should
Something to keep an eye on if you're worried about your money.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Shedeur Sanders falling all the way down to 5th round in the NFL draft. I think on the mock drafts, they had him going, first round?
First round, yeah. Like some people had him projected as high as like top 10. Most mock drafts had him in the first round, right? And his dad had even basically guaranteed a top 5 pick. There was tweets resurfacing.
Prime time is.
A bunch of memes and stuff. And essentially what happened is he kind of purposefully, in a way, tanked his pre-draft interviews because like certain teams he didn't want to go to, which a lot of people do, right? But with him specifically, there's kind of this whole, he's kind of arrogant and his attitude isn't great. A lot of teams felt that way and it wasn't received well by the league, right? So they kind of punished him for it, I guess. But like to deny his talent would be kind of stupid.
Yeah, but like you see, like Johnny Manziel did it, right? And like, the way that he used to party and stuff, right? People are saying like he's like a college frat kid. And they're worried about certain things. He still got drafted.
Exactly.
Right.
That happens all the time. A lot of them have like assault cases, like so much like things that happen. They kind of just brush it off because they're so talented and they draft them, right? So we do have a clip of some of the antics that this guy was pulling pre-draft. And the type his
trying to change
attitude.
the franchise or the coach that don't give me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over. And I've done it over and over and over. So it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me. You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people gotta say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too.
Look at his chain.
So it's like it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like diversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are.
Perfect time. Come on, bro. Let's make a song. Let's drop one, real shit. I play football. Here we go.
So that's
football.
That's another QB that got drafted in the
You ain't
first
got no
round.
hobbies outside of that? I play football. That's the only hobby? I want people to know me as football player. Let's search up Cam Wood. We say American football.
Yeah, that's Cam Ward. So he actually got drafted in the top 5 picks somewhere. Yeah, this. The whole thing is like people think his attitude wasn't great and he's cocky, but like, do you know who his dad is? He sounds like Primetime when he's speaking there. He looks like him.
Primetime's even cockier than that. That's nothing compared to Primetime, man.
I think it's a lot of his dad told him to act this way, or kind of that's what he's seen his whole life, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can get mad at the attitude all you want, but usually in sports, not just the NFL, even it's like a known. If you look at the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Anytime a team passes on talent, not for attitude, for even position, later on they usually regret it.
Yeah,
they always tell you to draft the best guy possible
on the board.
On the board, right? You don't draft for like if there's a shooting guard and he's like phenomenal, he's going to be a superstar, and you're like we're going to pass because we need a center this year.
Exactly,
it's a dumb thing to do, right? And that's just for a position you're trying to fill, right?
Yeah.
If you're talking about arrogance, like you could think like he might mess up your locker room or whatever, but if I would think even from the financial side, he's going to draw numbers. He's going to bring people to the stadium.
Sure, right?
He's one of those kind of people, right? So if you know how to market a superstar, I mean, I don't know.
What's also lost on a lot of people is like he has a kid at the end of the day, man. He's young, and you get influenced by someone. Now they got these NIL deals, so he's already making money in college, right? And like I guess he's just trying to act cool and stuff. He's just maturing, right? You expect these kids to mature overnight. That's hard to, right? I'm just giving him out there. But because like the longer this thing went on, I started to kind of feel bad for him because I know he was cocky, right? And arrogant and stuff. And that even rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, chill, you haven't done anything yet. Get into the league, start doing something. But
was he actually one of the best quarterbacks in the league? I mean, in the draft?
Not the best, but the talent's there, right?
Yeah.
Like he has an arm, he can run, right? He's not a bad not bad enough to go in the 5th round, right?
Right.
Like very clearly, people like passed up on him, right? So someone even prank called him.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, we have a clip of it. Someone prank called him.
Way to go! Say it one more time for me.
This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Way to go! Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man.
No, for sure.
We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir, let's be legendary.
Yeah, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man.
Shit. Okay.
Sorry about that.
What the hell?
See, so that phone is a draft phone. Only like NFL agents and GMs have access to that phone number. Nobody else has it.
So how did it?
I'm not quite sure, but like someone even got that like the number, and obviously he was toying with them. So that's how much people wanted to stick it to him, right? He kind of became. That's mean. He's a kid, right? At the end of the day, like as it went on, you could see him being humbled a bit, and he's just like, damn. And he looked sad. His brothers, because they live stream and stuff too. His brother, I think he has a podcast, YouTube channel or something. So they were trying to video record, obviously, the whole thing. They were trying to get a reaction there even too. And you could see he was excited, and he's like, what? He's like, you're going to have to wait a little longer. So mean, man.
I mean, people are going to do what people are going to do, right? Nobody's going to feel sorry for a person whose dad is like a
That's
prime
the
time,
thing,
right? Successful. You see
Nepo baby type of deal.
And then on top of it all, you have, everything available to you. Yes, you work hard, and not everyone can become a person who gets to play in the NFL, but there are two sides to it, right?
Yeah.
Like you do see this whole Nepo baby side where you're like, nobody's going to feel sorry for you, right?
Exactly.
But I do feel like a little bit, I don't know, I don't know what the discourse is out there, but like I could see the Colin Kaepernick argument coming up, and I could see a lot of these things, and I don't know if people turn it into a race thing, if that's where they're taking it. But I feel like, I don't know, from anything, I'm not a savant when it comes to college football by any means. I'm like a very casual fan when it comes to the NFL as well. I'm more into hockey and basketball and other things, but and MMA, right? A little bit, right? But not football so much. But even like the things that I've seen, he seems like a decent player to me, right? I didn't think like he would flop to the 5th round. That's all it is.
Definitely a like raw prospect, but the talent's there to deny that.
Somebody sure took a chance on.
And even as this thing went on, you could see, like we have in this clip, the humility kind of setting in, and then eventually he did end up somewhere.
What's up with y'all, man? We're here. We're in good spirits, of course. God don't make mistakes. We got faith in God no matter what. Whatever it is. Whatever it is, bro. We're not worried about
It's
nothing.
an LV towel. That's the reaction to him being drafted. 5th round.
Yeah.
That's him and his brother. Yeah. Even he kind of afterwards. Damn, they're going in,
right?
The dog.
But he backtracked it a bit. And he's like, I kind of regret the way that I acted and whatnot. I guess he had to, but you could see because they kept live streaming. They were doing it like during the draft. The whole, I think it's 3-4 days long.
Damn.
Yeah, and you could see the humility setting in. He's just like, damn, like God is good. God always has a plan. A little bit of that, right? So I don't know. Just seeing that all happen to him, I'm hoping this guy kind of proves the critics wrong. I don't know. The team he ended up on, Cleveland, they have 5 quarterbacks now.
That's the thing, right?
I don't know what's gonna happen.
If you can prove the critics wrong if you have a chance to play.
You gotta play, yeah.
Right? If you don't have the chance to play, who are you gonna prove wrong?
I mean, right now they have Deshaun Watson. You know what happened with that guy? He's not playing anymore.
Yeah.
He's like 5th string, I think now, even probably behind Shedeur. But their starter is Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
So that's not gonna last. I think an opportunity will develop there. Hopefully, he just has to be a little humble. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, let's move on to...
Wait, I was going to say before, did you see what Donald Trump tweeted about it?
Oh, yeah, he tweeted about it too. Same thing.
What did he say?
He was just like, what's wrong with the NFL owners? Are they stupid? It went on. It was like a bit of a rant.
Yeah.
Same thing a lot of people are thinking, honestly.
Yeah.
Hey, like, sure, he annoyed you, but even what you said, when there's talent, you don't deny it. You pick the best person on the board, right?
Yeah, I mean...
So many teams need a QB.
Yeah, I hope he gets that shot to like prove himself.
Yeah.
Right, but if he's robbed of that, because if he's going to be like the 4th, 5th string, then that sucks, right? Who knows when he's going to get a shot? But like, as long as, if he ends up on the field,
You just gotta stay ready,
chip on
man.
his shoulder.
You gotta stay ready. People get injured in football every game.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Hopefully good things happen for the kid. Let's move on to McGill University in Montreal. Close its DEI offices, and it's getting talked about a little bit. According to an article in the Gazette, McGill closes DEI offices, replaces racialized staff. For the second time in a row, McGill University's flagship program in medicine has been put on probation by Canadian accreditation authorities for 24 glaring deficiencies, including a failure to fully adhere to its anti-discrimination policy and an inability to meet diversity targets for the hiring of racialized and indigenous individuals in leadership positions. Yet, even as McGill moves to address these shortcomings, it is closing its social accountability and community engagement office, which was set up after McGill's medical program was first placed on probation in 2015 to address diversity, equity, and inclusion. The Gazette has learned the 3 individuals who ran the DEI office in the medical facility, all of whom are members of racialized minorities, are being replaced by a single person who does not come from such a minority background and who will be overseeing diversity initiatives as Vice Dean of Education and Community Engagement.
Okay.
So there's 2 sides to this thing, right? One is obviously the DEI side.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, you're prioritizing diversity because you think that minorities aren't getting a fair shot, right?
For sure, yeah.
And the other is meritocracy.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning that everyone gets jobs, and that includes in universities based on merit, meaning it's based on your skills.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like, on one side, you're thinking of it in a way where, like let's say if they needed an Indian brown guy to fill a position, right?
Yeah.
And you get that job, right?
Yeah.
Versus if they don't need an Indian brown guy, but you're skilled enough and you get that job.
Yeah.
Right? Looking at it that way, what side do you guys think you fall on when it comes to the DEI thing?
I feel like I always fall on the meritocracy side. Like, obviously racial profiling or any sort of profiling, religion, sex, what have you, it's not okay, right? And it's hard for people to remove that bias. Like, whether you say you don't have it or not, it's inherent. Like, a lot of the times it happens.
Stereotypes.
Yeah, they exist for a reason, right? And like, people fall victim to them. But it'll kind of make you hire. This one's particular to staff, right? In this situation,
this is about staff.
Yeah, I thought it was about students, but Yeah, it'll
Is
make
it the med school only?
They were on probation for the med school. I don't know.
I don't know if to go to McGill you need to know French.
You know,
Do you think that's what like people why they can't fill the position?
So the argument that they have there is that there's this right wing push for DEI to kind of go away.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why they're doing it. And even after they've been put on probation, like why I laughed while I was reading it, like while they're on probation, they're closing the diversity office.
Yeah.
Right. So that's basically saying, oh, we don't care what you're putting us on probation for, right? And having one of the number one medical programs in the country, they're kind of, now people are like, oh, what if they don't hold their number one status? They're kind of like, we don't care.
Yeah.
Right? We want this thing to be merit-based, which then you can look at in one of two ways, right? One could be like, that's not fair. They shouldn't do that. They should lose it. The other one could be like, okay, if you're the number one medical program or one of the best, right? Saying that you want to be merit-based, does that give you more credit or less?
Yeah.
I don't like, it's thought provoking, right? Like to me, I feel like there's anytime there's a correction, there's an overcorrection.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone says this term in different ways, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like if you fall too much on the DEI side, where now that diversity is getting pushed so hard, where people who might qualify for that program who aren't a minority don't get that job simply because minorities aren't represented enough in these schools is wrong, right? But if you go completely the other way, human beings aren't perfect, like you were saying, right? And they create these natural biases, right? So if you go completely the other way and you're saying it's merit-based, the fear from a minority is going to be eventually they're going to say that we don't need to hire minorities, right? And they kind of move in that direction, right? So to me, I feel like it's right now the needle's more kind of leaning on the DEI side. You need to bring it more back in the middle.
Yeah.
And then if it goes more towards not meritocracy, because that's the way you frame it to make it go that way, right? Like I think in a perfect world, it should be merit-based, right? But because of human bias, you're not going to get that. When it goes too far this way and no minorities are being hired, then you go, hey guys, let's bring this back a little bit over here, right? Like there's some smart, people from different minority groups and everything. There's smart people all around, right?
For sure.
But I think when people see this, it's the same way they look at, political parties, be it Democrats, Republicans, be it liberals, conservatives. It's either like I'm on this side or this side.
Exactly.
Right? And if this side is for DEI, I'm just on this side. And if this side's for meritocracy, I'm just on this side. They don't look at it like objectively and think like, okay, no, guys, we've gone a little bit this way. Let's just bring it back this way.
Bring it back to center, right? I think that the thing is, like, it's a medical program, right? You're saying one of the best. I'm willing to bet a lot of those hires are probably Indian or brown. They tend to be, right? Doctors.
Right.
So what, you're going to hire underqualified people just because they are too many Indians in the program, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's right to do.
But how do you know they're underqualified? Like, isn't the point of DEI being like you're still hiring the most qualified person for the job? Like, it's still merit-based, but you're just giving these minorities a fair chance.
That's the idea behind it, right? And that's where it starts, right? To give minorities a fair chance. And like the argument is, like, let's say if somebody comes up in a less fortunate household or something, right? They're trying to say that minorities they have a harder go at it, right? So therefore, if that person was given the same sort of education, same sort of money, same sort of family, right, then they would probably be just as smart as a non-minority, right? That the argument is that you're giving minorities a shot. But now if you look at it, if it is merit-based, it would be that if there's a brown guy, a black guy, a white guy, an Asian guy, a girl, like every different type of minority or, is represented, whatever, right? If the white guy was the smartest guy in the room, right? And you're like, we have a Indian position to fill, so
the Indian guy gets it.
Is it Indian or Aboriginal?
It said indigenous people here, right?
Okay.
But like I didn't mean like I wasn't talking about native Indians. I was just talking about.
I was talking about like us type
right?
of
Like
Indians.
just being relative to it, right? So if I offended anyone, my bad. But so like to me, it's when it's leaning too much in that direction, right, where you feel like you need to fill these spots in every corporation, in every school, right, you'll have somebody who's, oh, that's our DEI hire.
Yeah.
Right, that's what they'll say.
Yeah.
Right? We need one of those guys, right? You'll even have corporations where you'll have like a bunch of people who aren't minorities, but they need certain minorities. So you can tell that this was a minority hire.
You got the job in front of the
diversity
other guy.
hire. That's what it's called.
Like,
Right? So I think like when it leans too much that way, you bring it back this way a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And then like if it goes too much this way, and it's not that minorities aren't represented, it's if that there's just this habit of not hiring minorities, then you go, hey guys,
That's not
let's
good
look at
either,
this right objectively.
like I feel like it starts out in the right place. Like even what you were saying, to give people a fair shot, right? For example, even we were talking about the NFL, like they established a Rooney Rule. So each team had to interview 2 coaches of color, right? At least they put in a minimum requirement. What did these teams start doing? Interview 2 black guys, hire the white guy.
Yeah.
Right? And that happens too a lot.
Yeah.
They just go, okay, you want us to meet this quota? Sure.
Yeah.
We're not going to hire them anyway.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to force people to do things because inherent biases, right? So it's
I just looked up a
difficult.
picture of who they're replacing. So
Yeah.
there are 3, like they're all colored. One's black, 2 they look Indian.
Yeah.
Native Indian?
No, like India.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like different parts of India.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they're being replaced by non-minority person,
So white guy?
white
Yeah.
girl.
Oh, white girl.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I could see why people would get angry at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're a minority looking at that, being like, hey, what the hell? You're getting rid of 3 colored people.
For sure.
And you're bringing in a white person. But then again,
It's so weird saying colored person. I don't know why.
it is because it's a weird world we live in. We can't even say black people are
It's
Indian
this
guys.
whole thing, man.
Right.
This is woke culture.
Yeah.
Like, just think
Cancel
about
culture too, right? Like
everyone's scared to say anything, right?
Anything.
That's just the world we live in.
your mind.
And
I was-
that's
We were just talking, I think, the other day about so many movies and TV shows. I feel like even Friends, I don't think would be able to be made
yeah,
today.
like Chandler's
Like very
dad,
innocent shows.
right.
who's like transgender.
Hell, yeah.
That like the
They
way they
wouldn't
even
fly.
talk about it. Yeah, no way.
Not only that, like think about the cast. It's all white people.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they
that
brought
wouldn't
stuff
be
like
okay.
That
that
wouldn't
up.
be okay.
Yeah.
Everybody has
Like
a
all of these
token
shows,
black
they
guy.
want this representation
Yeah.
Right.
of
There
like
was no
every culture.
representation
Yeah,
there.
there was no representation, and nobody really
And it was
cared.
fine.
Right? If it organically happens, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. And some people of color, there's a lot of talented people out there. Right.
Yeah.
Like look at if you want to look at actors, some of the best ones are black actors. Right. Denzel. Like there's so
Even
many people
throughout
out
that
there.
time, like look at like Family Matters and The Fresh Prince.
So many of these shows, man.
Yeah, but how many white people did they have on those shows?
That's what I'm saying. Like there was no
Same thing.
representation.
I don't know. It's definitely
It's tricky,
a
man.
nuanced conversation for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a little bit of a yin and yang situation, and you can't just not have any minorities and have this racial bias towards minorities, but you also can't go completely in the other direction and be like, we need diversity hires just to fill a
Imagine
position.
being like, oh yeah, I'm the DEI hire. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel like proud.
Nobody's gonna
Exactly.
say it to you, but if you walked into a
You're gonna
room
look
and
like
people are
it.
like,
They'll
"Oh,
know,
okay,
right?
that's DEI. We needed
see the
that
name.
brown girl. We need
Yeah.
a female who was brown. Check. Okay,
That's the thing. It's hard to enforce without a bias. You know?
Yeah.
It's too. I don't know how to do it, honestly.
and it's weird because all of this stuff becomes political, right? And if I read that whole article in the Gazette, and they, like I was saying, they basically kind of just reference it being a right wing push to
Yeah.
make DEI irrelevant, and it's wrong. And when I was reading it, and they were trying to paint this picture of like, hey, the right is so bad for
Yeah.
thinking that, you know, meritocracy, oh my God, they're
Yeah.
crazy people. And I'm reading it and I was like, it doesn't sound that crazy to me, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I was reading it like objectively, because I
Most
understand
qualified
that
gets a job.
the
Exactly.
news,
Like so what? They just take away like the name?
yeah,
Like how would they even make that work? If you just look at qualification. Don't submit a resume with a name?
yeah. I mean, this I feel like even when you're reading these news articles, like they have their own bias, right?
Yeah.
And they have their own political
Definitely.
bias, right? And like even that though, I feel like is a little bit overblown because back in the day I was reading up on it, so I could be a little bit incorrect here. So anyone do your own research on this. But back in the day when news corporations first came around, they would state their bias clearly. Hey, we're a democratic newspaper. Hey, we're a conservative newspaper.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you're reading it, they're not trying to manipulate you into telling you that, hey, this is the right way to think.
Okay.
They're telling you this is our bias. Read it. This is our side.
Yeah.
Right? The way I like to digest information these days is usually I'll read it from the right. I'll read it from the left. I form my own opinions. I try to fact check articles. That's kind of how I go about things, right? And I try to not be so married to my ideas, but at the same time, I know what my core morals, values, and beliefs are, which I stick to. But I'm open to like thinking, okay, they have a point there. Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying DEI is like completely worthless, even though I'm leaning towards a merit-based kind of situation, right? But there are people who would be like, you're stupid. Why would you think DEI? Never, right?
Yeah.
And like, it's not that, that's a very toxic word, right?
Yeah,
But if there's no people of any kind of color or minority working in high positions, that's obviously going to be felt, right? And there's going to be some sort of bias created in that side of it too.
For sure.
Right?
It's difficult to enforce, for sure.
Let's move on to something a little bit less political. So here's Nico Harrison. He's the GM of the Dallas Mavericks, if you guys didn't know. And in case you guys missed it, here's his thoughts on the Luka Dončić trade.
Good question. I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level, but really the way we looked at it is, if you're putting a team on the floor that's Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Lively, we feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level, and that would have quieted some of the outrage.
Okay. When you guys hear Luka, you guys aren't huge basketball fans, but like what comes to mind, right? You hear there's only two correct answers.
What?
You hear Luka. You hear Luka.
basketball.
What comes to mind? Like just Luka.
Basketball.
Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. Either that or the Disney movie, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. When I hear,
you're just saying the word.
the word.
I thought you were talking about
Yeah.
the player.
Me too. I thought we'd already talked.
You immediately think of the player. I hear that.
Well, we're talking about the player. That's what I assume.
I'm just saying.
what's your point?
You-
basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you should have
just
asked
saying-
this question in the beginning.
Yeah, if you leave out the clip we just watched,
Yeah.
you hear the word Luka.
Yeah.
What comes to your mind? For me, it's those two things: the movie,
Yeah.
and Luka Dončić.
Think about this.
Yeah. Hey, even me, I was sitting here, I was like, what the hell is he trying to say?
I'm like, he's a good player.
Never mind. The point I'm making is this guy acted like he's like I didn't know,
know, right?
I didn't know he was this important to the
How
organization.
can you say that being the GM? Like, how did you not know?
Luka is one of those young talents, right? Like an Anthony Edwards, right? One of those superstars that you don't let go of. He's not like Wembanyama is clearly younger, right?
Never trade.
Yeah, but these kind of players, you kind of once you get them, you're like, okay, we're gonna build around this player for a decade and a half, if we can. We're gonna keep this guy, right, and we're gonna keep building around him because he's young enough to go far in the playoffs. That player gets you to the conference finals. Yeah, right. And the following year, you're like,
gotta trade him.
Didn't know he was loved.
Yeah, didn't know he was loved.
This guy, Nico, like depending on how this whole thing shakes out, he could go down as the worst GM ever. That might be the stupidest basketball trade.
Hate.
Yeah, so much.
I mean, why wouldn't you? What a stupid statement, right? I didn't know Luka was so loved, right? That's like saying I didn't know people were a fan of Drake in Toronto.
Yeah.
Right? Like I didn't know people like Vince Carter in Toronto. What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's like saying if they traded Austin Matthews
Steph
from the
Curry.
Maple Leafs and people would be like,
oh,
what the hell happened?
Good trade.
So how do you think he should have answered that? Like, no, like that was my decision.
What?
No, he should have left out the beginning, and the end was because to his point, we didn't get to see it play out. The team, right? He's like, we believe it's championship caliber. We didn't get to, it's a good lineup.
Charles Barkley calls Anthony Davis street clothes, right? Anthony Davis, to his credit, has been playing a lot recently, right? But Anthony Davis is injury prone, right? Klay Thompson isn't who Klay Thompson used to be.
Yeah.
That's not Klay Thompson who's won those chips with the Golden State Warriors.
But didn't
right?
Barkley also say that they're number one potentially after the trade?
He did, but I feel like you're catching flack because if you're going to choose the point guard for the future and you choose Kyrie, I'm not saying Kyrie's not bad. Like, he's a great player,
old,
right?
yeah.
But if your franchise guy is Luka and you rock with Kyrie, people, you don't know the fan base?
Yeah.
Like, if you're a GM, do you not know who the favorite player is on the team?
You should.
Are you tripping that hard? You don't know who the favorite player on the team
But
is?
okay, so when DeRozan was traded, he was a favorite player.
He got traded for Kawhi Leonard.
That's true.
They
And then
traded-
we won.
they
Did
traded
Luka
up.
get traded for Anthony? If he got traded for Anthony Edwards, I'd be like, okay.
Makes more sense.
Not to say Anthony Davis isn't comparable in terms of talent right now.
Yeah.
Right? It's about upside. Right?
Yeah,
And it's about marketability and it's about who the fans love. Right? Anthony Davis was in LA. Everyone's talking about LeBron. Right? If you take LeBron out of there.
He was loved, no Anthony Davis.
Yeah, but players are loved in franchises. They're still the guy.
Yeah.
Right? That you're kind of like people, Maple Leafs, for example, right? People love Nylander, Marner, they love Nyes, but who's the guy? Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
Right? If he's traded, people, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's the one, right? Imagine trading him and there's like, I don't know if people are mad. It's just him.
Even that trade, if you're doing that trade, how do you not get Reeves? How do you not get someone else to complement him? Make the trade make sense.
I feel like it made Rob Pelinka look like a genius because even though the Lakers are down 2-1, I think, but by the time you watch this podcast, it could
might
be
be
3-1 or 2-2, depending on.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they pull off what I think they can pull off, and they're in the finals or the Western Conference finals. Yeah, Rob Pelinka's gonna look like a genius, and Nico Harrison's probably not gonna have a job.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. I think they committed to keeping him on.
Who?
I don't know. The team.
They did?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people would just, sink with the...
You gotta sink with the ship, right? This guy's doing it.
Just go down with it, right? Yeah. I mean, he was doing good up until this point. This caught everyone off guard.
Yeah,
what the hell?
He kind of built that whole lineup. He was doing a good job, but I don't know. You don't trade potentially a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah, he didn't know, right? He didn't know.
He had no idea.
People liked him. He had no clue, right? And that's it for the stories. Let's move on to off topic.
First topic. So I've been seeing a lot of videos about how designer purses, designer bags are made in China. It's all alleged. Like, there's these Chinese manufacturers people that actually work at them. They're making these TikTok videos.
Okay.
So they're showing you, like, this is the bag. So basically, like, all the components other than the label is made in China.
Yeah.
Then they're shipped off to France, Italy. They mention Louis Vuitton, Prada, Balenciaga, Hermes, Gucci, Chanel, basically like the big guys, right?
Yeah.
So then when they're shipped, Italy and France puts the label on it, and then it says made in Italy and France.
Yeah.
So we're all buying these.
Yeah.
People are buying them.
Yeah.
But I would just think, like, knowing that, do you think people are still gonna buy it?
Well.
Yeah, people still buy it because it's brand recognition. It's prestige,
Status.
right? Status.
And I feel like people don't believe it.
People don't believe
Yeah,
it.
they'll
I don't
think
even know
it's
that it's true. It's all alleged.
I thought this was kind of known.
Yeah, it's marketing. Like, if you go to Vietnam, right? Like, there's a bunch of
The Louis Vuitton website, if you go to it, it says all of our components are made in France. The leather, the stitching, everything is made in France.
So maybe it is.
I think Gucci said that's too. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of them came out with it saying that it's not true.
Maybe it is. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know,
Yeah.
right? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? But there are things, like, from a marketing side, like if you look at iPhones, for example, right? 90% of all of, like, the components, everything is sourced in China and other places, right? But what do you read when you open up your iPhone? Assembled in California.
Yeah.
Right? And they've been pushing that since day one. It's written on every single product. California.
Well, we know where
you'll see certain F-150s, they'll slap a sticker on made in America, made in the USA. Right? They're not
But I
they're
guess
not
if you're
made
conscious
there.
about money, then you're like, you can just get it from this manufacturer in China.
So there is also this theory,
so much cheaper.
like not theory, but you'll see it if you research it, you'll start seeing it. If you go, there's people that go to Vietnam, right? And like for certain t-shirts or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, so this is how Nike makes them. They, we make these for Nike all the time. We just slap these logos on them. This is like, Nike's just an example. I'm not saying it is Nike, but like they'll say like a whole bunch of different companies and they'll be like, we just slapped their logo on it. This is the quality. Oh, you want this much GSM? You want this much? Okay, this is the one that we do for them. We get mass orders. They slap their logos on it. This is how much it costs. So it's a known thing with like t-shirts, jeans, things of that nature. Like people know, right? It's also a business thing. When drop shipping was like really big and stuff, there are certain people who took it up a notch and started going to like Vietnam and actually buying these things, looking at their warehouses. There's a whole YouTube community around it. There's a YouTuber who just flies out there to show you how good quality their stuff is, right? That's why even when these tariffs are going on, when they went on Vietnam, a lot of people are like, what the hell, right? Like, because they get things from there, right? So it is a thing, but to what you said, even knowing all of that, is that going to stop people?
No. I'm just even thinking personally, like, I'm talking about it from the other side of it, but you're still buying, like, say, a $5,000 bag. You know, if you're holding that bag, people know you bought it for $5,000. Exactly. I'm not necessarily into it, but if I was, I'd probably still buy it.
Exactly. That's what.
The status still comes with the bag. Doesn't matter who made it, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm like a no-name kind of guy. I don't really buy designer, but
if you did,
if I did, and the people that do, that's the reason they buy it, to be like, oh, look at my bag, it has the little tag on it, so they're gonna keep buying it. It doesn't matter where it came from.
I feel like I go out of my way to make sure that there's not too much branding on my clothing.
But think about when you were younger, you were more into it.
For sure, right? When I didn't know anything about money and investing, and that, like, hey, listen, you put your money places it grows. You buy something stupid, is shiny, and you look pretentious, and people actually look at you and say, like, oh, what's he trying to do? Same sort of energy. That being said,
it doesn't need to be the sole like negative. Like maybe you're
it's not negative, like but there's incredibly wealthy people. Yes, there's people that have yachts and they just stay on this pretentious. They only fly to Monaco. That's where they vacation south of France.
Because
there's people
if you had a nice Rolex, you wouldn't be mad at it. You
wouldn't be mad, but if I'm being completely honest with you, at this point in my life, you wouldn't catch me dead driving a Lambo. It wouldn't be my thing because I think it's like this pretentious attitude.
Flashy.
Way too much. It's not like when I see it, I'm like, there's some little kid who.
All right, but what about the Rolex?
A Rolex is different because it's not a Patek. It's not a $250,000 watch, right? If you're getting a $25,000 for a Rolex, a lot to most people, but it's still just a watch, right? It's not a Richard Mille. Like, it's not like a $250,000, $2 million watch. It's not something crazy that you're trying to be like, look how much money I have, like crazy, right? Yeah. Also, when it comes to Gucci, Louis, Chanel, I've read up on, I don't know how much this is true, but a lot of their market is the middle class, right? Yeah. People who want to feel as if they're rich and they're not actually rich, right? Because a lot of rich people who made money out of the mud, they don't care about this. You feel like a chump, kind of like representing a brand. Like, guys,
they wear their own brand.
I'm the idiot that bought this overpriced shit for no reason, right? When I could have bought it.
I don't know. Any Real Housewives I watch, they're all rocking all these brands.
I know.
Head to toe.
It's not a popular
opinion. And it's just like a white tee.
It's definitely not a popular opinion.
It's my opinion.
There's also like a huge market of like fake designer bags, but they look so real. And there's this one video I seen online where like they were comparing a fake bag, I think it was LV, with like a real one. And the fake one is like maybe a few hundred, a real one is a few thousand. And it was like the exact same minus the logo is the one thing that you can see that's different. So it's very possible that they're being manufactured in China.
Probably. But the other thing is with this tariff stuff, there's a lot of Chinese propaganda going around. So that might be it too.
And you just can't believe anything you see anymore.
Can't believe anything.
Just there's that
absolutely nothing. Like I will read an article and be like, whoa, that's crazy.
But wait.
And then I'll see another article pop up completely contradicting what it is. And I was like, what the hell? Then you have to go research it and check if things are true or not.
With this particular story, I went and looked at the websites and they're like, all of our products are made. Whatever. All right, let's move on. So I saw this article about Michael Jordan's salary. So back in the day. he was probably like one of the highest paid. Is that what it is?
And for the
So
time.
when he was playing, it was about 33 million.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to adjust it for inflation.
Okay.
So today he would be making 65 million.
Adjusted for inflation. Okay.
Adjusted for inflation, 2025. If you want to compare it to highest paid basketball player right now is Steph Curry.
55.
Yeah, and he only makes 55.
Yeah.
So below that is like Embiid, Durant, Jokic,
Yeah.
all 51.
Okay.
But like when you compare it like that, like Michael Jordan was making some bang.
Yeah.
No, he was for that time, right?
Yeah.
And there's a reason why he's a billionaire, but a lot of that has to do with the Jordans.
Yeah.
And it does to do with his salary.
Yeah.
But MJ during that time saved the NBA, man.
Yeah, he
And people-
deserved that
Yeah.
salary.
No, 27 years ago though, think about it. Like that's a lot of money.
Yeah, you know what the thing is? So many of these guys, like Chuck does it all the time. All of them, these kids make so much money, but when you adjust for inflation,
Yeah.
you guys kind of made the same amount of money. It's just everything
Yeah.
costs more now.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
There is that, but I think where the envy also comes from is that now these so-called kids, they're not really kids.
Yeah.
A lot of them are grown men.
Yeah.
Right. Steph, LeBron, all of them. They are, because of social media, because of the internet, because of YouTube, because of the connections.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot out there. These guys know how to invest. They
Yeah.
know what companies to buy. They know what to do to
Yeah.
turn those millions into hundreds of millions to billions.
For
right?
sure, yeah.
So the jealousy comes from that when it
Yeah.
comes to old school. It's not so much like just the salary.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these like Michael Jordan's salary compared to his net worth.
Yeah.
The guy just sold the Hornets, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so he owned a basketball
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right? LeBron's trying to buy one. He's already been there, done that. Right?
Yeah,
He does whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
MJ's
He's in
been a
NASCAR
billionaire.
now.
Yeah.
He has a NASCAR team or something.
Yeah,
When
that's
he
real
owned
rich
it,
people
was it
stuff.
just him?
Huh? He was the majority owner.
Okay. Because it's even hard to get that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you have to go in with like 15 people.
Especially how much they cost now.
Yeah,
These-
like we pulled up one of those stories a few weeks ago where how much were they?
6
Like
billion.
3 billion, 6 billion. What did the Celtics sell for?
6 billion.
6 billion.
Oh, right.
Right.
Over 6, a little
Yeah.
over 6.
That's wild.
I think the Hornets sold for somewhere around 3.
3, yeah.
Right? So that's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money. We throw it around like it's nothing because when you talk about government budgets and you start talking about deficits and
It's all
trillions and
billions
billions.
and- yeah.
So it sounds like it's nothing, but for your average person, it's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
It is crazy.
But that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool. MJ deserves it, man.
Let's move on to Sean Kingston.
Sean
Okay,
Kingston.
so
did he
Sean Kingston, you might not know him, but he was famous back in the when he first came on the scene. He was pretty famous. He was making a lot of money. He even had a song with Justin Bieber. You guys remember
Eeny, meeny, mo lover.
Yeah. But then like he started to fall off eventually. And he was making less money, but I guess he was addicted to that lavish lifestyle that he once had. So him and his mom started frauding people. So basically he would like go to like jewelers or like car salesmen and things like that and like create like a fake sense of security saying, oh, I'm a celebrity and like name drop like Justin Bieber and
Buying Gucci and Louis.
and basically get all these things but not pay for it. Like, so for example, he went to a jeweler, it was like a $385,000 watch. And he's like, oh, he said all these things about being a celebrity, being Justin Bieber's friend, I'll help promote your products, etc. And then he's like, I'm going to wire transfer you the money. Then at the same time, he's texting his mom. His mom sends a fake wire transfer receipt to this jeweler.
Damn.
And then Sean Kingston just walks away with the watch and the jeweler never gets his money. And they did this like frauding stuff.
How did the mom do that?
Yeah. Are those mugshots?
Those are the mugshots. Yeah. The mom, I don't know what's going on with her hair. It's like a mullet or something.
Oh my God.
But
that's jokes.
Yeah, so then they did this like a few times. Like they frauded over $1 million. And then eventually, they got sued. The police got involved. A SWAT team raided Sean Kingston's house. And then they both went to trial. They both found guilty. They haven't been sentenced yet, but they could face up to 20 years in prison. So I just thought, like, you know, he
Are
obviously...
they U.S. citizens? Because wasn't he Jamaican?
He was Jamaican, yeah.
Where did this happen?
He lives in Florida now. Yeah.
Okay.
This all happened in America. But I thought it was just interesting because, like, if he had just lived off what he made before, like, he could have lived a nice, comfortable
made another
life.
song. Like, his song was a banger.
And then they did all these illegal things, and now they're going to spend so many years in prison.
He should have invested some of those eeny, meeny, miny, mo
Right?
millions.
Like, come on.
I mean, he's just, while you were talking, he's just like, Kingston, Jamaica, oh.
That clicked to me right now.
Yeah.
She was saying it.
He's
Like,
from Jamaica.
Kingston.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if there's a person who becomes rich, right, off of fame, and you forget how to market yourself, like if you're willing to work and figure things out, I'm sure he could have marketed himself, called up people, had a few connections. If you didn't go down the wrong path, and you could have made some money.
Yeah.
But it's nothing new that celebrities, athletes don't know how to manage
Or
their
even
money.
have like one-hit wonders type vibes, like Vanilla Ice. And
Yeah, even all of that, right? Like you'll always hear even like old school rappers or somebody who's been in the game long enough be like, guys, don't spend your cash like that. You know, like, but they can't help it, right? Like everyone's heard the Antoine Walker story. Right?
Yeah.
I think his career earnings were like 80 million at a point, but then after
He blew through it.
yeah, he blew right through
Gambling
it.
and stuff.
Yeah, but like he's back on it now. He's like, I think he's on ESPN or one of these shows. He's doing pretty well for himself. But like a lot of these players, they go through that kind of situation too.
Yeah.
Right?
For
It
sure.
happens to a lot of people, right?
But I feel like that's one thing, like to have money and then eventually go like bankrupt or something, lose that money.
Yeah.
But then what he chose to do is like a legal activity to get more money. Like
He's just using like name recognition, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, I got you.
yeah, that's what he's doing to fraud people.
Yeah, I mean, a part of it is. I heard Ben Affleck talking about it a little bit on Theo Von's podcast about how, you know, even when you're famous, I'm paraphrasing here, but like, you know, a part of you always feels like there's some sort of imposter syndrome thing going on. I think like even if, you know, in his situation, a lot of the time when you get to a place and like fame is your number one thing that you have left, right? It's not skill, right? Or something, right? Even though he's a good singer, he's not relying on that, right? So if that's the case, then a part of you then forgets how to work. If that makes sense. Where like a part of you is like forgets how to work hard for something to achieve something. You're just relying solely on your reputation and your fame.
And you're used to the standard
it's
of living.
very
trying to
easy.
keeping up with the Joneses vibe, like
Yeah.
you can't.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
If you want to afford
He fell off.
long time ago.
Yeah, because I saw him at Luxie's. Remember that club in Woodbridge?
Oh my god.
he was performing.
Oh, he's down bad.
Yeah.
I think I even saw some like recently his car's getting repoed or some stuff.
Yeah.
It was in the news.
Yeah, when his house got raided,
Yeah,
by
his
SWAT,
house
they
got
took
raided.
all his possessions on his cars.
I mean, they'll let you out for a lot of stuff, but you steal money, you're going away.
Especially this guy
And he did it with his mom.
Well, you can look at that two ways too, man. She's ready to ride that. She's just like, let's go get that money.
Maybe it was her plan.
Maybe.
I think bad influence.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
let's move on to Late Bloomer.
Okay, so Just Rain's new show on Crave, Late Bloomer, season 2. So he's a first generation Punjabi Sikh in the show, obviously in real life too. So it's loosely based around his real life and like trying to balance like being a creative and like his like super desi family and like community. It just it spotlights like South Asian stories, and it's familiar to us, I guess, because we're also from that community.
Yeah.
But we haven't really got to see it like on a mainstream show. So
Yeah.
it's like cool to watch, especially because we've been like following Just Rain like throughout his.
Everyone remembers
Career and
those
stuff.
videos where he has a podcast. He used to be hilarious.
Yeah. And it's cool like how he's like bringing attention to like all these issues that are usually not spoken about in our community. And so the most recent episode we just watched shows the life of an immigrant that's new to Canada, and he's working a food delivery job to earn some money and make ends meet, and about the hardships they face, including all the negative bias that Canadian students have or face in Canada. It was really eye-opening to watch. It was really sad too.
It was. When we were watching it too, I was like a lot of students and stuff get a bad rap because a couple of people spoil it for everybody, the image of them, right? And then they'll show these people who are in the show, this guy's really, really just trying to make ends meet. Right. And he's struggling. He's his bike gets robbed. I don't want to spoil the whole episode, but you see him going through it, and he's just trying his best. Yeah. And then left and right, people are like, "You idiot, you can't do this right, you can't do that right." Yeah. And then they're just getting judged everywhere. Yeah. And it's hard because there's this whole anti-immigration thing, but then you see somebody come here and really try, give it their all, and then they get lumped up with these other people, right?
Yeah, that's unfortunate and it's unfair. But a lot of the times, if you want to make it in life, it's going to be hard. Nothing is easy. Yeah. Right. And whoever the first immigrant in your family, whoever's watching this or wherever it was to get there, this thing was probably really hard for them. The first generation that comes there, the kind of jobs you got to do. I remember my dad's told me he used to, when he first came to Canada, he'd work at farms, right? At the age of 13, 14, he'd work at farms getting paid $3 an hour. Now minimum wage is $17, right? That's what it used to be, right? And he's told me his own story where when he was in high school, he worked all summer, finally bought a bike. He bought this big fat chain, everything, right? He went to school, he chained it up to the fence, right? Came back, stolen. Yeah. That was his 3 months work. He's saving every single dollar he has. Right? Yeah. That day, I feel like, I can't remember his exact story, but he was so sad. He didn't want to go home. He wanted to run away from home. He sat at the subway station, eventually ended up at home or something. I think I'm butchering his story a little bit. Right. But, yeah, a lot of that, even him telling me his stories, right? He grew up, doing odd jobs like that.
He dealt with a lot of racism.
A lot. Right? A lot. Right? And some of it, yes, there's racist people, but some of it, people have stereotypes, right? And sometimes you got to break through these barriers, right? You can't give up because things are hard, right? And sometimes they are harder, right? Yeah. But it's fine, right? If you can break through it and you can be resilient, right? You'll make something, right? If you just keep going and you don't give up, right? But definitely watching it from a perspective of a student who, yes, they get labeled, right? Immigrant students.
Off the bat.
Off the bat. Yeah. They get labeled as these people that just want to come here and party, and they're not thankful to be Canadian. They're not thankful. Whereas there are a lot of them that come here and they do want to work really hard and make something. And this was all that their family had to possibly get, right?
And they're working 3-4 jobs.
Yeah, and they get underpaid. Yeah. They get paid cash under the table. Landlords don't respect them. Right. People that
take advantage.
Employers don't. People in our own community take advantage.
The most advantage,
right? Yeah. But then again, a lot of that also has to do with, especially in today's day and age, it has to do with the amount of people they're letting in. Right. And when I feel when immigrants hear that, they think no, they're being racist. It's not that. Right? If you're going to go work at Tim Hortons or whatever job, right? If there's 500 people applying for that job, you're probably not going to get it.
Yeah.
Right? If there's 50, you have a shot.
Yeah.
Right? And that's I feel gets lost in all of this, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not just trying to say Tim Hortons is the only job they can do.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a lot. They'll get a lot of hate, especially in Canada, for doing those kind of jobs.
Yeah.
But I feel it's a lot of too much too fast. Right. And that's where this stuff goes, right? But that doesn't mean that good people aren't trying to work their hardest to try to make ends meet. Right. And then they have to keep putting up with this BS, right? And at some point you're bro, enough is enough, man. I'm trying here. I'm not trying to do things the wrong way. I'm not trying to take shortcuts, right?
Yeah.
But when that's happening, I feel you just got to keep your head down. You got to keep trying to grind and make it, right?
Well, it's true that the immigrant story is hard, whether you're an immigrant now or when our parents were when they first came. But that was another interesting parallel that I thought the show showcase was that, like, Just Rain was first generation, so his parents were immigrants, but he's born in Canada. And then this guy was like looking at him and like with like hoping, wishful thinking, like, oh, it must be nice. I wish I was like born here. I didn't have to face all these hardships, which is interesting because like I thought that too. Like, what if we were the immigrants, right? Sure, like how much different, how much harder it would have been. Like, we're lucky that our parents came here.
Yeah.
When
like,
they did.
Like even today, you said it to me too. You don't even realize you get caught up in your own problems. Like, you're living somebody's dream.
Yeah.
Somebody's
you're living
hoping that one day they can like have what you have. And you always, like, not always, but sometimes you think you don't have enough or you want this or that.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are living in rooms with like 10 people, just hoping that one day they can have a house or something, right?
So I hear that sentiment. The other side of it though is people that come here now, right? They like to, some of them look at it that way and they aspire to be a certain way. And they're like, I'm going to, work hard, become a part of Canadian culture or American culture or UK culture, wherever they are, right? And they're like, I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to establish roots here. I'm going to contribute. I'm going to do everything, right? But then there are people that look and go, you only have what you have because of your parents.
Exactly.
Right? And they look at you that way and they're like, you don't work hard. You only have that. Like, is it your parents' fault that they made a better decision or they were put in a position financially? Is it like your great, where are you going to draw the line?
Exactly.
Right? Like, if somebody's less fortunate than you financially, is like, if somebody's richer than me, right? I'm not envious. I could care less. Right? Like, if I have this belief in myself, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go make it. None of that really bothers me. Right. And I feel like a lot of the time, when it's looked at from that, it's looked at from a financial side of things. Whereas to me, anyone that knows me, like, I'll work hard for money, but I could care less about like what car I drive, where I live, how big my house is, where I go on vacation. I work really hard, so I do get some nice things, right? But it's not something that, like, I'm not the guy who's like, look at my Escalade. Like, that's not me. It's never been. I'm not the guy, like I was talking about those Louis bags. It's not my dream to be like, oh, look, my watch costs $200,000. Like, I don't care, right? But a lot of the times, people that come here, they think that's success, right? Exactly. And they look at you and they're like, oh, look at this person. They have like these houses, their parents are going to give them all this money. They're rich. They don't even know it, right? Without seeing that, hey, listen, maybe this guy's parents made sacrifices, maybe their grandparents, maybe their great-great-grandparents. Maybe if these people still lived in India, they might even be well off than us in India as well.
Exactly.
Right? Like, that wealth gap is going to be there regardless.
That's the part that stings too, right? Like, a lot, even I've seen it on some of our shorts, we get comments, you guys are so lucky, right? Like, no, I'm not. Like, we struggle too, and we have struggled, and our parents struggled before that. And just like we talk about Nepo babies sometimes, and we think that's a really stupid argument because you're going to give your kids everything, and then they're going to use that and hopefully create more, right? And that's the whole idea behind it.
Natural.
People don't have perspective, though.
That's the thing, right?
They lack perspective because, like, somebody can look at...
Not just people, like, I could sometimes not.
Everyone does,
You're
right?
guilty
Yeah.
of it.
But self-awareness should kick in. You should be like, yeah, maybe other people work hard too, right? Like, I work 24/7 for everything that I have. Like, legit, I sacrifice sleep. Everything comes to me before myself. My family comes, work comes. I don't stop. Anyone that knows me knows. Like, people tell me, you'll burn out, bro. Relax a little bit, right? And so for me, if somebody's about to come to me and be like, yeah, you're lucky because of your parents, I'm like, bro, that's a lot. Some of that goes on that side of it too, right? Where you're like, yeah, man, the shit that you're doing. Like, I was the guy who's driven cabs before Ubers existed, before I went to uni. When I was there, I was day trading. Like, I was working my ass off. Like, I never slept. Even now, right? Married with kids, I still don't stop. Like, somebody, to me, that's just in my DNA, right? Like, I'm gonna work. I'm not gonna stop, right? And if for some reason to look at me and be like, oh yeah, he's lucky because of his parents.
Like, nobody's life is that
right?
easy.
Some people are, right? And some of them might, I have friends who are very well off comparatively to me. And their parents have a lot, right? But, like, I'm not saying that they don't work hard, but That's not everybody's story, right? I can't look at somebody and be jealous of what they have.
Yeah.
Right? I can work hard, right? And aspire to have something.
It's like, welcome to Western society. That's how it works here. You got to work, right? Yeah. You work hard and you build.
And the thing is, if it is merit-based and you are a hard worker, then you'll make it.
For sure, yeah. But outside of that, I think the show is kind of cool. It's not... There's kind of a storyline in the back, but they do these episodes where they just shine light on things. It's cool. You see people speaking Punjabi. You see, like
they had a episode where it was showcasing him as a young kid with like a parka and like what happened during like 9/11 and going through racism.
It's cool to see.
Yeah,
it's cool. Like to get Punjabi representation on the main stage. Even this like ads for the show. Like I see it all over the place. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it is cool.
Yeah, no, because you definitely feel some of those things growing up, you know, the stereotypes.
It's a little relatable.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, last story. So Mandalorian, did you know there's not going to be a 4th season?
What?
They canceled it.
They canceled the show?
They canceled it, yeah. Just found out, because I was looking, I'm like, I thought it was supposed to come out this year or next year or something.
I mean,
if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even realize it was
you forgot.
I haven't seen ads or anything about it for a long time. Yeah,
but I also saw that they're coming out with a movie. Called The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Damn.
Yeah, coming out next year.
Remember, everybody used to call him Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda. He's so long. He's so cute.
Yeah.
I feel like he made that whole show.
So did they just cancel it and they're just like gonna make the movie?
Exactly.
Oh,
I mean, the guy, what's his name? He's in everything these days.
Everything. He's also gonna be in this movie.
Yeah, obviously, but he's in like
I don't know his name, man.
50.
Pedro Pascal.
Last of Us. Yeah.
He's in everything.
What did you say? Basketball?
No, Last of Us. The show.
I heard basketball.
What basketball? What are you talking about?
He's like loving basketball.
No, he's in Last of Us. Nah, that's cool though.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, so that's all we got for off
I'm looking
topic.
forward to that.
Okay, let's move on to the questions. So we'll start with, you're gonna get a lifetime supply of the following foods.
Okay.
There's 5 of them. You have to rank them without knowing what comes next that you would want to have a lifetime supply of.
Okay.
So the first food is tacos.
Can you eat tacos forever though? Every day? Lifetime supply?
1 to 5 though.
1 to 5?
I think it was a burrito.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Burritos are
better. Or burrito bowl.
What do you want to say, like 3 or 4?
3 or 4.
I think 3.
3? Okay.
Sure.
3.
Okay, lifetime supply of avocados.
Oh, I love avocado.
I could get
But not
less.
everybody. Yeah, you don't.
But like a taco you can eat like a breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's your meal. Avocados you can't do that.
But you'll never have to buy them again. You can.
Like you can still eat other things.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, I missed that part.
Changes. That changes a lot. I thought it was just a thing you have to live off
So
of
just
it.
think about how expensive things are. Avocados are so expensive.
Yeah, that's got to be higher then. Avocados
No, but
are
what
expensive.
if she says something like, I don't know.
Yeah, what if she starts naming like things like pizza and pasta,
Lifetime supply.
right?
All right, so
like
should we do 5?
5 or 4?
4? Okay, let's do 4.
4. Lifetime supply of sushi.
Sushi's so expensive.
And you never have to pay for it again,
Down.
right?
1?
1? I would say 2.
Mine 2.
2. Okay, 2.
Say 1 for pizza.
There's no
pizza's so cheap.
lifetime supply of ice cream.
Ice cream. Well, ice cream is very cheap. Now it's turning into a monetary thing.
That's all it is. Monetary to me now.
I would put ice cream last.
It's 5 or 1.
I don't need a lifetime supply.
I don't even need it. Yeah, you could get away with not having ice cream whatsoever.
We'll go 5.
5.
Wow. Lifetime supply of croissants.
Croissants.
That's number 1. Eat them every day.
Yeah. I don't hate croissants if I'm being honest.
The lifetime supply.
You have croissants and you have tacos?
Avocado.
Breakfast, lunch?
Taco should have been 1.
Yeah. In hindsight.
Yeah.
Right? All right.
Okay, so for our last question, I thought we should do like a hockey question.
Okay.
So guess the top 5 hockey players of the last 25 years. So post Gretzky, he's not on this list.
Okay.
This list is according to the score.
Is it
Top
based
5
on goals
overall?
or just top 5 best players?
Say that again.
Top 5 like goals and stuff, or just top 5 overall best players?
Overall best
Okay.
players. Of the last
Sidney
25
Crosby.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ovechkin.
Ovechkin.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Okay, 1 and 2. Who else is on that? Nathan McKinnon?
Yeah, McKinnon has to be on.
No. Connor McDavid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4.
4. Does Matthews crack that list?
No.
No, man.
See, then it's gonna get harder.
Holst Gretzky.
Yeah. Those
25 years. Sundin? No, he's not.
No.
Messier?
Who's that guy in that?
Messier's during.
Did you already say him?
Who?
Connor McDavid.
Yeah, Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Who the hell am I missing? Oh, is Taves or Kane? Patrick Kane?
Yeah.
Okay.
Patrick Kane is number 5.
I'm
so
trying to
you're
think
just
who was
missing
killing
number
it.
3.
Who was killing it like during that era? Like around
the
Crosby and stuff. That's why I said McKinnon.
So the last 25 years, she's saying. So it could be recent.
That's why I said Matthews. He's not on it.
Yeah, if Matthews isn't on it.
I don't know if I'm gonna get the third one.
Is he? Do you know what team he plays for? Can you give us that?
Yeah, what team?
Okay.
He probably only has a name.
You want me to go?
Okay. I can give you the hint.
Okay.
He spent most of his career with the Red Wings.
Red Wings. Yzerman? Zetterberg? Pavel Datsyuk.
No.
Who the fuck?
Tavares. I don't
know.
No. Most of his career with the Red Wings.
Yeah, Yzerman.
Who's there? No, why isn't it Zetter? Who else is it?
Pavel Datsyuk.
Who was their goalie? Is it a goalie?
I don't think it says.
Howard? What's his goalie?
Jimmy Howard, but it's not him.
Just tell us.
No,
Okay.
hold on.
You always want to guess? Okay. It's an entire career with the Red Wings, not most of it.
Whole career?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Because isn't it the ones that I said?
What are we missing?
Who am I missing that's like an all-time great Red Wing player? I'm blanking.
I'm blanking too
Larkin?
hard.
No, it's not
I'm
Shane
kidding.
Larkin. No, man. It's an all-time great Red Wing.
It has to
All
be.
time great is Gordie Howe.
No, it's not Gordie Howe. He's
Why are you cheating, by the way?
I'm not gonna know this.
Yeah, we're not gonna. What else
Should I
is
tell you?
Yzerman, Datsyuk, Zetterberg.
Del Vecchio.
Who the hell else is there? What name am I missing?
You know what would be funny if you said it and I just didn't know because the pronunciation is off? It's Nicholas
Lindstrom. Damn. That's my bad. Yeah, he's a
He never
defenseman.
did.
Yeah.
You could have gave
He's
that
good?
hint, I would have got it.
Yeah.
I gave you the team
gave us
he's
reference.
on.
You gave enough, and
No,
yeah.
we didn't get that. No need to be frustrated.
No, I got the rest pretty easy.
You should have given a better hint.
I
Then
got
would've
the rest
it.
pretty easy. And then,
Yeah.
He's number 3.
All right.
You like him? He's good?
yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah.
I don't like him.
No, okay.
He wasn't good for this team, right?
All right.
Okay. And with that, it's a wrap. We'll catch you guys next week.
Go Leafs, go.
Let's go.